Welcome children. In this class, I am going to start a new chapter. That is Unit 3, Database Management. So that means under this chapter, we are going to study SQL, different SQL commands or SQL queries and different types of functions that is used in SQL. You will get 20 mark question when you are bored from this chapter or from this unit. From Python, you will get 40 mark question, and database management, you will get 20 mark question, and 10 mark from computer networks. That is another theory chapter. Now, we studied MySQL last year itself. The same thing is coming over here. First, we can see what do you mean by database. Database means it is a collection of related data. Related data's collection is known as a database. Or we can say database is an organized collection of data generally stored and accessed by using electronic devices, or it is accessed electronically. A database intends to have a collection of data stored together to serve different application. It is a collection of data, and by using this data which can be used in different applications. Now we can see what are the different purpose of database. It reduces data redundancy. The first main purpose of database is it reduces data redundancy. Data redundancy means data duplication. Data duplication means same data will not be occur again in the database. It will occur only once in the database. So, a database means it reduces data redundancy. And the second thing, it controls data inconsistency. The second main purpose of database is it control data inconsistency. Data inconsistency means if you are reducing it, if your database does not have data redundancy, that means data duplication is not there in your database, then automatically data inconsistency also will be controlled there. That means data is stored in a single location. If the same data is storing in two different locations, then if change is taking place and the change is affected only in one place, then the old data will be there in the other place. So that means there is an inconsistent data is occurring there. That means the same data you are storing in two different places, and you made changes in one place, and the old data is available in the other place. So there is an inconsistency occurring there. So here if you are using a database, the data is stored in a single storage location, single place. So if you want to make changes, the changes is taking place in the same place, in a single location itself. So the change data will be applicable or available in multiple applications. That is your data inconsistency. Control, it reduces data inconsistency. That means data is stored only in a single place, only in a one location, and from that location, different application is accessing its data. And the third point is data sharing is possible. Sharing of data, that is a main use of your database. Same data can be used in multiple applications. Same database can be used in multiple applications. And fourth, the main purpose is data security. Data which is stored in a database must be secure. That means you can protect it by using different types of security method. You can give password protection for your database. Only those who know the password can access its content. So that is your data security. These are the main purpose of database. It reduces data redundancy, it reduces data inconsistency, and data sharing is possible, and the data which is stored in the database must be a protected one. You can protect it by using different methods. So any type of mechanism, you can use it to protect the data. Next we can see what you meant by DBMS. First recollect what is the full form of DBMS. Database Management System. Database Management System. That means it is a software package designed to define, manipulate, retrieve and manage the data in a database. It is a software package which is used to manage the data which is stored in a database. That is your DBMS. And the next thing, relational data model. Relational data model means data which is stored in the form of a table. If your data is stored in the form of a table, then we can say it is a relational data model. Next thing, RDBMS. RDBMS means Relational Database Management System. Now you know what is DBMS. DBMS means it's a software which is used to manage the data which is stored in a DBMS. Now RDBMS means it is a software or it's a software package which is used to store the data, which is used to manage, store and manage the data which is stored in the form of a table. Data which is stored in the form of a table can be processed or can be managed by using an RDBMS. Now we are going to study MySQL. MySQL is an RDBMS. It is a relational database management system. Now we can see different terms that is used in database. There are a lot of different terms we are using inside the database. First one, domain. Domain means it is a pool of data or it's a collection of data. It is a collection of data and from that collection you are extracting the value to a table. You are going to store data in a table in row wise and column wise. So you are collecting the data from a pool, from a collection. You are extracting the data from a collection and that data you are storing in a table. For example, I will give an example for domain. For example, I am going to store information about the students in a database. So within that I have to store age of a student. Age of a student means normally age of a student is in between 5 and 15. If you are considering a student which is studying in a school, that means the student who is studying in a school means his age is in between 5 and 15. So the whole numbers between 5 and 15 is the domain. From that domain, you are extracting the value for the age column. That is your domain. Domain is a pool of data. Pool of data means it's a collection of data. From that collection, your actual data is extracted and stored in the table. That is domain. Next term is relation. Relation means it is another name of table where data is arranged in row and column format. Relation means where data, you are storing the data in the form of rows and columns. Third one is attribute. Attributes means each column in a table is known as an attribute. Each column in a table, that is known as an attribute. Next one is tuple. Tuple means each row in a table. We studied that table means it's a collection of rows and columns where data is arranged in the form of rows and columns. So each row in a table is known as a tuple or each record in a table is known as a tuple. And the next term is degree. Degree is the total number of columns in a table. how many number of columns are there in a table. Total number of columns in a table is known as degree. And cardinality means it's the total number of rows in a table. Or you can say it is the total number of records in a table. Is known as the cardinality. Is the total number. Total number of records in a table is known as cardinality. These are the basic terms you are using in database. In our board exam also, 2-mark question, this type of definition they can ask. And the next one is primary key. Primary key means it's an attribute of a table which can be uniquely identify the tuples of a relation. Relation means table, tuple means record or row. So, it is an attribute. Primary key means it's an attribute of a table which is uniquely identify the tuples of a relation. Uniquely identify the records of a table. For example, I am going to say student table. Student table means which consists of the information about the students who are studying in a school. So each student will get separate roll number or each student will get separate admission number. No two students have the same admission number in a school. Every student will get separate admission number. So you can say that admission number as the primary key. Using that admission number, you can identify each student studying in that school, each child studying in that school. That is known as primary key. And the second term is, next term is candidate key. Candidate key means the attribute which can be selected as the primary key. Sometimes you can have multiple columns will be there which is uniquely identify the records of a table. You can have multiple columns will be there in a table which is uniquely identify the tuples of a relation. If I am going to say students of 12A, students of 12A will have, every student will get separate admission number and every student will get separate roll number also. In that case, both roll number and your admission number can be selected as the candidate key. They are the candidates to select as the primary key. They are the candidate to select as the primary key. From that candidate key, anyone we can select as the primary key. And the third one is, next one is alternative key. Alternative key means all the keys which is not selected as the primary key. From the candidate key, all the keys which is not selected as the primary key is known as the alternative key. So, once again recollect primary key. It is an attribute of a table which is uniquely identify the tuples of a relation or uniquely identify the records of a table or records of a relation. Second one, candidate key, any attribute of a table which can be selected as the primary key, which can be used to uniquely identify the tuples of a relation are known as candidate key. And the next one is alternative key. From the candidate key, the keys which are not selected as the primary key is known as alternative key. And the next one is foreign key. Foreign key means, foreign key is always used with the two tables. It is an attribute of a table which is the primary key of another table. It is an attribute of a table which is that attribute is the primary key in another table. There are two tables are there. I'll give an example. For example, we have employee and department is there. In employee table, I have employee number as the primary key. And there will be another attribute named department number is there. That means that the department number store the department number of where each employee is working. And we have another table named department is there. and which store the information about the departments. That means each department has a unique number is there. That unique number is your department number. That department number will be the primary key of the department table. So we are considering two different tables. One is department and one is employee. Employee table store the information about the employees, whereas department table store the information about the department. And in employee table, every employee will get a separate employee code. Their identity is depends on that employee number or employee code. So every employee will get an employee number. Using that employee number, you can identify each employee in that table. And in that table, we have another attribute named department number is there. That department number represents in which department that particular employee is working. And the second table is department table, where department table consists of information about the department and it has an attribute department number is there. That department number is the primary key in department table. Now when I consider the employee table, I have department number is there. That department number is the primary key here in the department table. So in employee table, I can say department number as the primary key. Department number as the foreign key. So inside the employee table, department number is the foreign key because the same foreign key is the primary key in department table. So that is your foreign key. These are the four main definitions. Primary key, candidate key, alternative key and foreign key. Now we can study about SQL, Structured Query Language. I told you SQL is an RDBMS in which related data can be represented in the form of a table. Now we can study different data types used in SQL. Different data types that is supported in SQL. See then, here we have int, integer or numeric. All the three are same. You can use either int or you can use integer or you can use numeric. These are used to store whole numbers. Whole number values can be represented by using either int or integer or numeric. Maximum you can store 10 places or 10 digits in that attribute. So the maximum size is allocated for this data type. That means integer or numeric will be 10. We can enter 10 places or 10 digit under that attribute. For each record 10 digit. And the second type of data type is decimal or float. Both are working in the same way. See that I have written as decimal m, n or float m, n. This is used to store the decimal point numbers or fractional numbers are used can be stored by using decimal or float data type. Altogether, we will get m places allocated. Out of that, n spaces is used for fractional part. We will get, so if I am writing decimal of 5, 2. Decimal of 5, 2 means altogether 5 places. From that 5 places, 2 places taken as taken for the fractional part. And remaining 3 will be used for the whole number part or part which is coming on the left side of the decimal point. That is your decimal or float data type. And the next type data type is character. Character can be written as the complete word character or you can use char. The specified number, you can give an argument inside that bracket. So the specified number of characters can be stored in this. So if I am going to say character 5, so you can store 5 characters under that attribute. It is a fixed length data type. Character data type is a fixed length data type. That means if you are going to give address as character of 10, that means you can store maximum 10 characters under that attribute. Maximum 10 characters. If you are entering a value which is less than 10 also, anyway if it is less than 10 also, it will allocate 10 memory spaces for that particular attribute. That will not depends upon the value which you are entering there in that attribute. If you are mentioning as character of 10, altogether it will get 10 character spaces for each record or each tuple, which cannot be changed. That is a fixed length. And the next one is varchar. Varchar means it's a variable length. That depends upon the size. That depends upon the size of the value which you are entering inside that attribute. Or that depends upon the number of characters present under that attribute. If I am going to give character of 5 for an attribute, I am going to give the data type as character of 5. And I am inserting a value for a particular record. The value coming under that attribute is Anu. Anu means only 3 characters are there. So only that particular record, only 3 memory spaces allocated. And the next record, you are entering a word with 5 alphabets. That means for that particular record, it will allocate 5 memory spaces. That is why it is known as variable character. That depends upon the memory allocation, depends upon the value which you entered into that attribute. Maximum of 5 characters. If it is less than that much, then that much of memory spaces will be allocated. But in the case of character, even though if your value consists of only 3 characters, it will remaining 2 spaces will be filled with space, and altogether 5 memory is allocated there. You are going to declare address as character of 20, and you are giving a value with 10 characters. Even though it is 10 characters, remaining 10 spaces will be filled with space, and altogether 20 memory spaces will be allocated for that particular attribute. That is your character data type. And there will be one more data type which can be used in SQL is date. Date data type is used to store date in your table. Normally date is stored in the form of a 4-digit year, 2-digit month and 2-digit day format. 4-digit year, 2-digit month and 2-digit day format. These are the basic data types used in MySQL. So these are the basic things about your database and MySQL. Next class we can study different queries, different types of queries used in MySQL, which we studied already there in the 11th standard. The same topic is coming in 12th standard also. So we studied there are 2 categories, there are 4 different categories of commands are there in MySQL. They are DDL commands, DML commands, TCL commands and DCL commands. So TCL we didn't study anywhere, but DDL, DML and DCL, data control language. DCL we didn't study, TCL we studied here. That means commit, rollback. All these are the TCL commands. That means transaction control language. These 3 types of commands we already studied. So these commands we can study in next class. Now I am winding up this class today. Thank you children.